Lots of coffee.
Happy Hot Topics. We're very,
Go ahead.
very coffee focused this morning.
Yeah, you ever have one of those days where you're just like, I just need coffee. I just need coffee. That's it. Like I can go through the rest of the day and do nothing, but just give me coffee.
It's funny because this is sort of that weird in between Christmas and New Year's. Nobody knows what day it is. Nobody knows what time it is.
True.
We don't get up. Yeah.
Like this morning when I was like, oh, do I have anything to do this morning? I was like, oh yeah.
I was going to call you at one point, but I figured you'll get the text.
I'll get the text. I was just getting, obviously, someone organized for his help. So I'm
Good
fine.
times.
So how are you? Did you have a good Christmas?
It was quiet.
Yeah. That's the word of Christmas 2021. Everyone you talk to says it was quiet.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Good morning, Teresa. You're enjoying coffee with us, so thank you for being here so early in between New Year's.
I feel it's so weird. Like yesterday morning, I was like, doing emails at 6. I was doing all this stuff. This morning, I just feel weird. Maybe it's just that in between kind of day that you're just
like I said. People don't know what's going on. People don't know what day it is. Nothing. It's such a weird time. Even, whether you celebrate Christmas, whether you don't celebrate Christmas, if you have kids, like the kids are off. It's just like I sat down yesterday and the day before, and you and I were talking, and I was just like looking at the computer going, huh. Like you were like, we should send her an email. Yes. Let's do that. You're just that's out of sync.
Yeah, and everyone, nobody, as you said, no one knows what day it is. No one knows. Like we're kind of in limbo in where we live. We're in limbo because we don't really know, our schools opening, our schools closing, our events on, are they off? Like we have no idea.
There was an announcement about an announcement that an announcement is coming soon.
So I was funny. I was talking to my son last night, and I said, "So, are you starting back at work? Are you playing hockey? Like, we've only got a couple of days left to, make those decisions of where we move you to." So,
well, they really don't seem to understand that parents actually have to plan.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of parents who are like, it's Wednesday, school's supposed to start on Monday.
Yeah, it's very, very odd. But I think, it is, you're right. It's that funk week, right? It's that funk week where we're like, even without COVID, you're kind of like, what am I doing? Right. Yeah. And so the good news is that it is, I always love the fact that, we start fresh January. And the good news is you at least have a date to say, okay, this is the day that I'm going to turn things around and start new again, right?
Yes.
So that part is good.
Yes. And a great day to do that would be January 3rd.
Yes.
I'm a little biased.
Yeah, a little biased. So we talked about it last week. Our challenge is January 3rd. There's thousands of people that have been through it. If you're a former challenger, feel free to join us because you have automatic access into the course. And we are live every single day for 5 days, answering questions, telling you what we're doing, all that kind of good stuff. And, the truth is, if you don't do something, whether it's our challenge or sit down and, figure out your goals and what you want to do, if you don't do it the first week of January, I mean, you can still obviously do it the second week, but at least put the intention out the first week of January and set a date for yourself to do it. Because if you don't, January will fly by. And here's the weird dilemma about that. Some people, they say they're going to do it. They're going to focus and do it in January. Then January goes, they leaves, and then they're in February. And then what do they say?
Well, I'll wait until I feel that, I don't know whether it's you don't write off the entire year, but it just doesn't feel the same because you're
Right.
in February and you just do,
Yeah.
and it becomes busy work, and then March and April, and all of a sudden you're like, and then September's the new January. So you're like, okay, well, I'll make the most of the end of the year
Yeah.
because you just, I don't know, somehow it's like, well, if I don't do it now, then I won't
Yes.
do it. So you're right. I just, you know what? Don't waste time, leap in. I know a lot of kids that go back to school January 3rd as well, the Monday. So it's perfect timing. The kids are online. Still carve out time because
Yeah.
otherwise, you're right. You're going to get behind. You're going to feel behind. And somehow it's going to be like, well, winter's gone. I must well wait till spring. Well, now it's summer. Well, September's the new January. Well, let's do 2023.
Yeah. And that's unfortunately it does happen. And I think for a lot of people, it happens more business. You're a little more focused. Most people go, okay, I need to make some money. I need to pay the bills. But then your personal goals kind of get out of the way. You know what I mean? Like you might say, okay, this is the year I'm going to exercise a little or eat healthy or something. And then when January leaves on the personal goals, you usually have a tendency of just going, okay, well, it's not going to happen this year.
2023 it is.
Exactly. So, I mean, the nice thing about doing the challenge and doing our plan is that you're doing all your goals, whether it's business or life goals, and so it does give you the step by step to do it. And quite honestly, like we've talked in the past, we need to do this year. I mean, I was way off track because I had so much going on in my personal life for 6 months of the year, a little more, I think, and I just had to make the realization that I just had to, let things go because I had no choice. I ran out of time. And you helped me in a lot of that stuff.
I
so,
remember well. So
so
I know that part of the challenge we do a rewind. So it's always good to look back. So as a sneak peek, what is your biggest lesson from 2021?
I think my biggest lesson is that if you need to let things go, you need to let things go.
Okay.
I mean, it's you can't beat yourself up because the first little while, like things came unexpectedly to me. So I ended up having to, move and make some big drastic changes. And the problem is not that the problem isn't that you can say to yourself, I'll give myself the time, but the challenge is to not feel guilty about it. And
Right.
that was the number one thing for me. It was the hardest thing I had to do, and didn't realize that I would actually have to really, really work at allowing myself to recognize that I had no choice. Sometimes you don't.
And you have to let it go. Like
Let it go.
I could sing, but I don't
No,
necessarily.
let it go. Let it go.
And that's hard.
Yeah. How about you?
I say I ask the question, and then I realize you'll probably do that, and then I go, I don't have an answer.
Oh, okay. Well,
Ah,
that was the hardest thing I thought. And I think, you know, going with that, I think I had a very specific reason why I had to let things go. And it was a long one, 6 months. But there was also, I think, almost every single person in the world had to come to that realization because of COVID. So they had to let a lot of things go but here's the thing that I don't know. Like, if you're listening today, ask yourself, did you make yourself feel guilty? Because it was out of your control, just like mine was sort of. It was out of your control. You had to like give up things. Maybe you did live events and you had to give those up. Maybe you had a work environment where you went to work and you couldn't go anymore, right? Maybe
lots of
you
changes.
lost clients because people were worried about money. Like whatever it was, it happened to almost everyone. So ask yourself that question before you go into the new year. Did you make yourself feel guilty even though it was out of your control? Because that's, I think, the key is you have to recognize when you have to, give yourself a break and say, okay, there wasn't anything I could do about it. So yes, I probably did make myself feel guilty. That's probably what most of people are saying. And then what happened because you made yourself feel guilty? Like, did
Definitely.
you?
Yeah.
It's a spiral, right? Like most of us, maybe drank some extra and ate extra and gave up exercise because they said, oh, I can't go to the gym, instead of finding a solution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, do think I've seen lots of people that were the opposite, and they used it as a, wow, I have all this time, I'm going to work out at home, I'm going to do all these
Right.
extra things. So
That wasn't
it
me.
doesn't matter if you didn't. It's just a matter of recognizing it.
Absolutely. And I feel like, I think my word, if I'm not necessarily a lesson, but I think my word of 2021, and I know this is for a lot of people as well, is flexibility.
Right.
Because I feel like 2020, we went, and it was like we had to pivot, which again, I'm glad we're not using that word anymore.
Yeah.
But 2021 was all over the map.
Yeah.
It was all over the map, depending on where you live, depending on who you were, depending on who you were with, and things could change literally on a dime. And I've learned that the most probably this holiday season, because it was like plans changed literally hour by hour. Was, I had a plan, I don't have a plan. I have a plan, I don't have a plan. It's going to go away, I'm not going away. I'm on a plane, I'm not on a plane. So you're right. I had to let go of the onus of that. I had to let go of what was planned.
Right.
And build in flexibility. Okay, well, if I can't do this, I'll do this. And not be too upset about it. And yeah, it bummed me out for sure, but I had to accept very quickly, because I had to, figure other things out. So you know what? It was good. It was good to learn that. And I hope that goes into, because of course, going into 2022, looking ahead, both of our families are going to be drastically impacted, because our boys are going off to either university or college in 2022. So that's going to be a big, for me, flexible need to embrace flexibility.
Yeah. I mean, I've had to do that for the last 13 years. So, I'm used to that part, like I said. So it's, and most people haven't experienced it, or if they've not had a major event happen to them, they've never had to really be able to say, okay, let me, for lack of a better word, Stacy, let me pivot over here and do something else. So yeah, I mean, I just think what's exciting. So it's been, I think, the last 2 years for some people, they've like skyrocketed their businesses and stuff. Sure. And it's interesting. I talked about it with a friend the other day, and so it was, there's some businesses that really hurt, and then other businesses that, like construction and things that people had no choice to. They had to fix up their houses, they had to fix their apartments, they had to do whatever. So that piece, those businesses flourished, and then other people really got hurt. So it's really not, we either did really well or, had to kind of backtrack a bit. But whatever you did, it changed your career path, your life path, your business in the last 2 years. And I think now, again, this is the perfect opportunity to sit down in January, whether, as I said, whether it's with us in the challenge or on your own, but say, okay, what lessons did I learn? Do the rewind. What lessons did I learn? What did I see I did well in this time of change? And I didn't do well. And importantly, we are going into 2022 thinking this is going to be a great year. We're going to change things up. And so we want to put everything we can into our plans, but we also want to make sure that we don't rely on it being a perfect year, because we just don't know. So if you are writing your plans, so say you do a lot of live events or you're a speaker or anything like that, you can't rely on that going back to normal. So if you are writing your plan and you say, normally you would say, I'm going to do 12 live events because that's what I do in business, you have to have an alternative to that. So if that doesn't occur, what can you do? And rather than wait till, March and say, I'm not going to be able to do them, write into your plan what you're going to do alternatively each month if that opportunity doesn't come your way, even in personal goals, right? So please don't write, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week starting in January.
Now, let me scratch that off my list.
Because that's a hard one to keep when there's no COVID. But when there is COVID and the gym closes, what does that leave you?
Right. Well, it's the same thing of like if you're a speaker and you're saying, oh, I want to do live events. Well, then maybe there's online conferences that
Yes,
you could do
lots of
instead.
different
You
opportunities.
know, are you going to go to the gym? Well, how do you alter that? And again, building in, letting the initial plan maybe go, but also building in flexibility so that you can do alternate things
Yeah.
based on how the world is during certain times. So,
That's what we want to focus
yeah,
on in when we're doing the challenge, and we're doing, because we end up basically you're going to end up with a 1 day 1 page plan. And so what you want to make sure is on that plan, and as you go through your planner for the year ahead, is that your alternatives are already listed. So
yeah,
you've already done that work the first week of January, so that when crisis hits, if it does, you're able to flip it. If it doesn't and everything's fantastic for the year
great,
ahead, awesome. That's
great.
good, because then Stacy and I will be going to concerts.
Exactly. Come on. Let's go.
But
So,
maybe we won't.
well, you know what? It'll whatever will happen will happen.
Yeah.
So we did do if you have not seen the 2022 social media predictions
Yes.
for this year, but what I did want to point out is I read a quote this morning. So I was just having my coffee, flipping through Facebook, which I rarely do, but I was flipping through Facebook, and I saw this statement about the state of social media today. So we did ours, and we all know that video has been on the social media watch list forever,
Yep.
the last whatever many years. This year, it's not about whether video is on, it's the type of video, right?
Right.
So on our social media predictions, it's more shorter video, it's vertical video, basically video made for social media. So when I read this, I thought this was very interesting. And it says, what I still can't believe is how many people I talk to that continue to waste their time and energy trying to cling onto the photo sharing days of yesteryear.
It's true.
How in the world have we associated photo sharing with yesteryear?
Yeah.
I'm feeling very old all of a sudden because I know what yesteryear is.
Yeah.
But
It's
we
true.
used to say things like, the days of 8-track of
Yeah.
yesteryear. Like,
Yeah.
it's fascinating how fast
Quickly,
things are
quick,
changing.
quick, quick. Yeah, it's very quick. And what was interesting to me as well in the last 6 months, as I paused most of my stuff. You still saw obviously social media, but I paused a lot. Didn't jump on and do stories and everything because I couldn't. And it was interesting to kind of not be in, like, sit back and watch and go, wow, like, look, what am I watching? What
Right.
am I watching now? What's keeping me engaged? Because if I'm not focused strictly on what I'm putting out, which is what
Mhm.
most people are worried about, what they're putting out, instead kind of look around and say, focus on what are you consuming? Because
Right.
that's a good indication. And you're right. Like, so now it's all, what are we watching? We're watching TikTok videos and stories and reels, and, like, we're watching things that are quick bites that are movement based, right? Because
Mhm.
now still photos don't even hold our attention. Like,
That's the sad part. I think
remember when
that's
everyone posted quotes all the time?
yeah, and now, like, they don't even register in my brain,
No.
which is crazy,
Yeah.
and I know from our own social media, we know what posts get a lot more engagement than
Yeah.
others, and we are definitely going to embrace more of that going forward, but
Yeah, we have a social media manager that always kicks our butt and says, "Do more videos," and we are always like, "Yeah, yeah, we'll get there."
and we will for
And she's
2022.
been saying that to us for, what? How long? Right? So
Long time.
she's right, and we
Mhm.
know it. I mean, we teach it, we know it, and we can do more. We do more than most, obviously, but we can do more as well. It's just, I think what's key to me is finding your comfort zone or your comfort space in it. So, are you comfortable sitting here, wherever you are? Maybe it's a specific spot, a specific office. Are you comfortable doing movement videos? Are you comfortable outside? Like, where is it that when you make a video, it was not stressful for you?
Or wait, might been fun.
Yeah, exactly.
What a
So
concept.
if you find that special place, then that will make you do more videos because it was an enjoyable process and we do more of what we enjoy, right?
Exactly.
So for us, Stacy and I, we like to do hot topics. We like to jump on here live. We don't care where we are. It doesn't bother. Sometimes we have good reception, sometimes we don't. You
Sometimes we
know,
have bad lighting, sometimes we don't.
yeah, but we're okay. Like if you ask me, to record a video and put it out there, or ask me to do a live, I'm always going to do live.
Yeah.
Always. It's always my first choice. It's so much easier. It's enjoyable. You feel like you can say anything you want and your true personality comes out, as opposed to worrying about a scripted video and sitting there going, what am I going to say today? We never worry about that.
Well, ironically, so here's an interesting learning. So recently we did a pre-recorded.
Yes.
Okay, so we did a pre-recorded Hot Topics. So we did it the day before because life sometimes gets in the way. So we had to pre-record it. It went out live because a lot of third-party streaming softwares, for those of you who don't know, you can actually upload a pre-recorded video and it will broadcast it like it was live.
Yeah.
Actually, my mother was mad at me because she found out that it wasn't live. But it appeared live.
And we'd only done it once.
Only once.
Yeah.
By the way, Mom, we're live today.
Yeah.
Heads up.
Yeah.
She was mad at you too, but anyway.
It was my fault. But
it was. It's okay. I did blame you.
Yeah.
But the interesting part about that was we knew it was pre-recorded. So all good. But what happened was we literally started exactly like we start every other Hot Topics, and I click a wrong button. Now, if we were live, I totally would have rolled with it.
Yeah.
Whatever. But what did I do? I went, oh, it's pre-recorded. Wait, stop, time out. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
And we would never have done that if we were live.
Never.
Ever. We stumble over our words or whatever, but it's authentic. We know we're live.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the vibe of it was different.
It was. Yeah.
So I mean, once we got into it, it was absolutely fine. But there was just something about knowing people are out there. Like I see the numbers, you guys don't. I see the numbers of who's watching. People can comment and say hello. Like there's something engaging and about that. And you feel like you're talking to people as opposed to just us having a recorded conversation. So there was definitely a different vibe about it. So I agree with you. If you had asked me any time of day, hey, do you just want to jump on live for a sec? No problem.
Yeah. And it even extends that. I think it's the lesson is for people to understand is things are changing at a rapid pace, and the way we communicate changes at a rapid pace. So, think about it this way. We're used to jumping on video. We're used to jumping on live. If you're not used to it, get used to it, and then it'll be easier. So, when Stacy the other day, we were, texting back and forth, and I just said, can you just jump on? And I just meant, jump on a Zoom call or jump on a video call, whatever, because it's just easier now to jump on a video call, see the person and talk rather than text and do all this stuff. And so what happens, that's how we almost always now, every morning or whatever, we just jump on and say, what are we doing today? And so if you're used to even having just a conversation with one person, right, jumping on that way, you will get more used to being on video.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to look good, right? It's not being recorded. It's not going live. So you don't have to worry about that. But even if you just want to jump on with a friend or your parents or somebody, you get used to being on video. And that will make the difference to whether you're comfortable or not, going more and more into this video-centric world. And, it's fascinating to me how it's changing so much. You know what I mean? Like everything is
so fast. Like I said, the whole concept of being able to say photo sharing of yesteryear, like just completely made me fall off our chair. But what's another really great way to get used to yourself being on video? Edit yourself.
Yeah.
Record a video and edit it. Get used to listening to the sound of your own voice. Get used to watching yourself on video, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
If you were live, you would have no editing ability.
No.
Like I said, the one time that we did it, I went, oh, wait, time out, stop. But I never edited it after that, and we didn't stop and restart or anything like that. But it's important because I think those who, do a lot of videos, watch the videos, whatever, just get used to it. And then they can just do it in one or two takes. or if they record their own voice, like in podcasting, if you record your own voice and you're editing your own voice, you get used to the sound of your own voice.
Yeah.
Because originally you're like, oh, I don't like the sound of my own voice. Oh, I don't like the way I look on video.
Yeah.
You get used to that really quickly.
Yeah, and you don't care anymore, right? And I will say the one thing that is on the negative side of pre-recording is, we pre-recorded obviously, and we made a mistake, right? A mistake at the beginning of playing something wrong. Here's the thing. This is what I believe. You might not disagree, but had we been live, I don't think we would have made that mistake.
That's my point.
Yeah, right?
That's the point, is that it wouldn't have, and it was just a different vibe of it. And it's like, I know I clicked the same button every week, but somehow it was pre-recorded. I wasn't in my same headspace.
So you're kind of like, you're not as, you're not like, you have to have that little bit of the, okay, let me check and make sure everything's working when you're live, right? And when you're pre-recorded, you're like you're still there, but you're kind of like, that's kind of, it's the same thing as, when we teach people in the speakeasy training, I'm in our speaking pillar, we always talk about, listening to yourself, listening to yourself, listening to yourself. But here's the thing, you can't stop and start your speech. So you have to say it out loud for, weeks if it's your first gig, right? Until you are very comfortable, not memorization, until you're very comfortable hearing your voice and saying it, and being able to, if you do make a mistake, being able to know how to get out of your mistake, right?
Yeah, because if you're on stage in front of people, you can't go, hang on,
let me start again.
Can we just start again? Can we just forget that? It's like the jury.
I don't remember that one word that I said, oh, I forgot that joke I was going to make. Please don't make jokes, by the way. Jokes don't work well if you're not a comedian.
But you know what does work well is if you can make fun of yourself when you make a mistake.
Right.
Because it puts everybody at ease, especially if you completely fumble what you're saying, or you say something different than what's on your slide.
Which
whatever.
we do all the time.
Absolutely. But you're right. You need to know how to deal with that. Because again, you can't go like you're in court. Can you just disregard my last statement?
Yeah. And it is like everything in life. I don't care what anyone says, is practice. So we're so comfortable because we're always on, and always being on is the same as is practice, right? Yeah. It's the same thing. If you're used to, I did coaching video calls. I did video calls for years and years and years before any of this video stuff was live. So if you teach yourself to be on, video, you will eventually be comfortable with it. And it's kind of like you hear about the reality shows, right? Because like when you watch reality shows, you're always surprised, like, I can't believe they're letting them film that or whatever, but you kind of forget the camera's there.
Exactly.
After a while. And that's really and there's nothing wrong with that, because what do people want to see? That's why reality shows are so popular, because they do want to see what's happening. And I know a lot of it's scripted, but a lot of it as well is what's happening, because there's no way people would allow some of that stuff to show if they actually realize that, they were on camera the whole time. So
I think they do forget. I think you're right. I think they do forget that there's cameras, or that there's an audio pack in their, pocket, so that we can hear their conversations and stuff like that. And even we forget, except you see the back of somebody who's wearing like a tank top or something, you see the audio pack like taped to the back.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, that's exactly. I always look at the same thing too. But it's, and it's like when you're on stage speaking, or you're doing, you're doing a live event, you're so into that moment that you don't even realize you are probably being recorded, right? Mm-hmm. You're probably being filmed, and you don't worry about that because you're live in that moment. Like, we're being recorded. We know we're set this up, but we don't think about it. And it never occurs to me to say, I have never, you can tell me if I'm wrong, Stacy, but I've never said to you ever in the 2 years we've been doing this, or 3 years, I've never said, can you edit that out?
I think I'd be like, hang on, check your temperature. What's wrong? No, and it's true. And I get fascinated because again, I do podcast production. And I do get that. Oh, like I remember sending the final version to somebody, and they're like, oh, I don't like right at the point where it's like 19 point whatever minutes where I stumbled over my word. Can you just take that out? The problem, and this is where I'm fascinated, is the intonation.
Yeah.
So earlier, even today, you stumbled over a word, but then when you said it correctly, your intonation changed.
Right.
So if I were to edit out the stumble, the intonation sounds weird.
Right. Totally.
If I went, oh, well, hang on. I meant to say hot topics,
Yeah.
right? But I can't go hot
Yeah.
topics.
Welcome to hot toffee.
Or if I went toffee, I mean topics. But the way I say topics, because I'm emphasizing the fact because I messed it up. So if you take that part out, this sounds weird, and people don't
Right.
understand that it doesn't sound natural,
Right.
and they
And
want to
nobody
have it so
wants
perfect.
perfect. We how many times can we have this, conversation with everyone? I mean, we have to drill it down, but I mean, if we are really going to go into 2022 with saying, okay, we're going to do video, we're going to let it put ourselves out there, we're going to do live, we're going to give their message out, then you have to be okay. You have to finally commit. This is the year that you're finally going to commit and say, all right, I don't care if I make mistakes. I don't care if I say things that people don't like or say them wrong. I just don't care, but I'm going to do it. And then that's what's going to take you over. If you're still sitting, if you're watching us or listening to us and you're nervous right now because you should be for your business or whatever, and you're nervous, that's a good thing. That means if you're nervous, you want to do it. You want to try it. And so honestly, come do our challenge and we're going to get you there. If you're you don't care and you're just more like, I don't think I'm going to do it, then I'd be more worried about that. Because if you really want something, you're going to be your gut's going to kind of be like, okay, it's jumping up and down, but I'm going to see what I can do to make it happen, right? To learn what I need to learn, because it doesn't just happen. You have to learn certain strategies and mechanics to say, okay, why am I not doing this? What do I need to learn to be able to do this? And, how do I start?
Exactly. And a great place to start is on January 3rd, the year of being epic. Sorry, over
Yes.
there. The year of being epic.com.
Yeah.
So I wish you a very happy new year, everyone. We will see you in 2022.
Yeah.